Scott. Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
All right. Good, thanks. All right, so what we want to do now is walk just a little bit through. Maybe it'd be helpful if we start. Tell me just a little bit about BluePrint. You touched on it in the intro, but maybe give the listeners just a little bit more of an overview of you guys.
Yeah, no, like I said previously, it's a 40-year-old company. It is family owned. It was started by Bob Kraken. It was now fortunately passed away, but his son Martin Kraken has taken the reins, and he is the CEO and owner of BluePrint, which is nice. It makes it a good family-owned business, easy to work with, flexible in the way we react and move. So for me, it's been really good, and you know what we focus on is mostly the food industry. So for me as a salesperson, that's been fantastic. It's really what I've been focusing on for the last 10 years. And you know the great thing about the food industry is everybody has to eat. And so we kind of don't really see a large upswing or downswing of business, even through the pandemic. While we had a downturn, it picked right back up and ended up a really strong year last year. So focusing on food has really kind of been our niche. We do manufacture all of our own equipment around the world, and then we have sales and service and support around the world as well. So it's a very large family-owned company, but we try to do our best to keep it small as well.
Yeah, you mentioned something there that I think that I've witnessed after working with you guys for almost a year now is because you're family owned, being kind of nimble, as you said, right? You can make quick decisions, and you guys have been able to adapt and evolve with everything going on. You know, as a partner of yours, I've seen that working with your team. So you know, you guys have been with Creatio for a little bit now. Maybe can you tell me a little bit about your business processes and some of the things you guys were doing before Creatio? I know you've been there a few years, you know, yourself in sales, how it was working with marketing, you know, and your leadership team, and what that process looked like before.
Yeah, no, I mean, that process previously, and, you know, in some ways still is the old way, and we're working to fix those things. But, you know, a lot of that time we spent in Excel spreadsheets, you know, communicating through email. Reports were really just reactionary. When somebody asked for something, we, you know, cobble things together and hopefully come out with some data that made some kind of sense to people. You know, so it was becoming really difficult just to become efficient with our time, and that was becoming more important to us as, you know, things were going on. We just didn't really want to expand our sales base or our sales group. We just wanted to get more efficient.
Yeah.
And that's where we struggled. So we really just were forced to make a change. I mean, it was just time. They just lived on spreadsheets way too long, and just wasn't working for us. So it was just, you know, like I said, a lot of email, a lot of Excel, a lot of reactionary, jumping through hoops just to get a report done. But overall, it's been a big change so far.
Yeah, one word I heard when I was, you know, talking, whether it be with Robbie or Mike or others over there, was, you know, there's a lot of redundancy, right? A lot of meetings that would happen, and then the next meeting would be a repeat or something of that, right? Where there was maybe some struggles with, you know, what the left hand and the right hand were doing.
Redundant paperwork.
As salespeople, we love filling that out, right? So let's talk just a little bit about you know, your personal impact with COVID. You know, I know you were traveling a ton when we were going through the sales cycle. You were always off in some plant, you know, way off in La La Land somewhere, tracking you down. You know, you were always out and about. How has that changed for you over the last year with your traveling and your work?
Yeah, no, it's you know, unfortunately, it's changed quite a bit. You know, I used to, as you mentioned, I traveled extensively. I was always on the road. It's, I guess, an expectation in this kind of a job where, you know, you're dealing in food and there's high demand, and the demand needs to be met very quickly. So it requires us to be on the road almost every week.
Yeah.
So COVID definitely had a big impact. It took us out for 3 months for sure. Those initial 3 months we sat at home and did nothing, hopefully like the rest of the world. But after that, we kind of picked back up again. So now the challenge, the one thing that we face today is we can't always rely on our customers being willing to let us in, whereas, our sales is more relationship based. So it required us to be in those plants, continuing those relationships, building those, strengthening them. And we've had to kind of force ourselves to work a little differently because those plants aren't always receptive to having us come in and, hang out and do our spiel.
Sure.
So that's been probably the biggest challenge, is just making that change to spending more time in your office and more time in front of your computer, more time in reporting an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. I know you're getting pretty good at some reports in Creatio, and we'll touch on that in a minute. But what about, Nandish had a couple slides that talked about some of the organizational impacts. I'm a traveler myself, and I'm in the same boat. Wanting to get back out there and shake some hands, so I can empathize with you there. But what about organizationally, you guys, knowing, you have these larger products that aren't, you're not selling widgets and bubble gum, right? This is long-term relations, sales. Organizationally, you guys have continued to stay strong, which I think is impressive through the pandemic, like you said. Let me see.
Definitely, I mean, the move to Creatio has helped us through that transition quite a bit. I think it's also gave us the time we needed to implement something.
It maybe was a good time where you guys did have butts and chairs for a few months when we were rolling out. So let's talk about that for just a second. I know in your past you've been part of, you at BluePrint there were more, CRM, you're familiar with CRMs and more conscious about that. Can you talk about how deploying Creatio was, through the implementation versus maybe some of the others you've worked with?
Yeah, no, like you said, we have about 6 to 7 sales guys in North America, and we have another 3 in South America that all have kind of, some of us have had a flavor of a CRM before, some of us haven't. This is my 3rd personal CRM rollout or implementation over the last 18 years. So I've had, I guess, probably the most experience in dealing with different vendors and different CRM software solutions.
Yeah.
I would say definitely for us, it's been probably one of the smoothest rollouts as far as getting people engaged and using it. That's the one thing I noticed, is everyone took to it very quickly. So it was great. We all had the time to do it. Everyone took the time to do it. We literally have all of our, so that'd be 9 salespeople. We have another 4 or 5 app engineers that are all using it. Management's using it. So it was impressive to see how quickly we were able to pick it up and implement our own, I guess, workflows into the way we like to see things, the way we like to work. That was one of the coolest things I enjoyed about it is, I've worked with some of, I guess we'll call them the big box CRM, and I've worked with the other side, the really small, small ones. So for us to take this on and be able to manipulate it enough and create it so it works with the way we want to work.
Yeah.
And that without having to go hire, a person full time to do that was key. I think that really helped get everybody on board quickly.
Good. Yeah. I mean, you've kind of been one of the few major champions over there, and you've obviously got a 9-to-5 outside of being a CRM admin, right? So that's nice. Talk to me a little bit about maybe some of the improvements. We talked about the word redundancy or whatever, about your communication now with marketing. We talk a lot to Robbie. And what does that look like for you guys, getting visibility into his efforts maybe a little easier or more seamless than before?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could spend probably 20 minutes talking about the process before, but just to give everyone a picture, it was literally, we would go to a trade show, we'd get our lead sheets, we'd fill them out as we're talking to the customers, and it was just photos. I mean, they would take photos of these things and email them out. And it was just like, okay, here's your lead. There's no tracking to it. There's no information behind it. That's it. So it was kind of difficult, I guess, for us to target, market, and plan appropriately and get ourselves in a position to be in a place for success, because we weren't really doing anything with the data. We were just, here you go, and hopefully somebody used it, and if they didn't, they didn't.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a challenge there. Disconnect previously. It's been nice now because you can just upload the data through Creatio. It literally auto-populates to all the right salespeople. And all we have to do internally is, as a sales guy, is log into Creatio. We see that we have open leads, and we can then start touching them and making contact and move them through a lead funnel, I guess we'll call it.
Yep.
And for us, it provides us a lot more back-end information. So now we know where we need to put our money going forward, right? Hey, we spent $50,000 on this trade show. We only sold one machine. Maybe it's not worth doing it anymore.
Yeah, that was really difficult, if possible at all, before maybe to get some of that analytics around marketing.
Yeah, that's one of Robbie's biggest frustrations. I mean, he would go into our leadership meetings and he just doesn't have an answer for them.
Yeah, actually, let's actually move to that leadership, because I think that's the other part, is some of the reporting. I know you've taken a key role in that, working within the dashboards and some of the printables and reports. Is the also output, right? You've got now the left and the right hand of sales and marketing working together, but I know Rocco and some of the executives get in every day and look at the dashboards, and I know that's kind of been your baby a little bit, or you've taken a lead on that. So can you talk about maybe the ease of building some of those reports and dashboards and how that's helped you guys make better decisions?
Yeah. No, I think that's probably one of the most powerful pieces to using the Creatio software for us is, I don't want to put myself down, but I'm just a sales guy, so it's weird that I'm the one being the technical guy implementing dashboards and reports and all this fun stuff, but I enjoy it. It is not hard to learn. It's kind of WYSIWYG, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah.
What you get. So as you build it, the report populates, and you can kind of see, what that report's going to look like and break down to, and and you kind of fine tune that over time, and it gets better over time. But I think that's been one of the cool parts about this, and I know Rocco and the executive team love not needing to hire somebody, right? It's not another salary.
Yeah.
You have somebody like me doing it, which is good. That way, I'm a little more intimate with the software anyway, because I use it daily. And so it's probably good to have somebody like me highly involved in building those reports. And I know from a time saving standpoint, I mean, just sales guys alone, it's, just the dashboards and reports we've built already. I don't know, what are we, 6 months into this?
Yeah.
Right? It saved us probably, I would say, 2 to 3 hours a week per sales guy. And management, that's probably, 5 hours a week they're saving. Just to very quickly go and pull a forecast or go and pull, an open leads report. I mean, just having that data at the touch of your fingers whenever you need it has been extremely helpful and time saving. And that's probably most important to all of us right now, is just being more efficient with our time, because it's getting tough to cram everything into a 8-10 hour day,
especially when we do get back on the road again and start traveling. And so let's talk about that kind of as my last question, I think, is when we were working with you guys, I was really excited because there was a lot of really cool stuff we were talking to you about to help improve some of these processes. And we're, I think, candidly kind of in the infancy with getting you guys on a centralized system with the improvements that we've discussed between sales and marketing and some reporting. But we've got some really cool stuff with the field service team, for some field service management, some really great integrations into ADP. So when those guys are out in the field, I guess just high level, maybe talk about some of the future state stuff that you're excited for that as we're growing with you guys.
Right. Yeah. The list is long, to be honest. First for us is definitely going to be it's very focused on sales right now. So I think the next step for us is going to be definitely to get all of our proposal templates, order templates, RFQs, things like that, that we are having all that redundant time entering in a customer name, address, phone number, contact, right? Where that information really, we've already got it. Why are we entering it multiple times? So that is going to be first, is to get those templates into Creatio so we can auto-generate a lot of those documents that we have to build on a regular basis. And that's probably nearest and dearest to my heart because that saves me the most time.
Sure.
Second up, I think, will be probably ERP. This is just came down the pipe. We haven't even talked about it yet, but we're now, I guess, looking for a new ERP. So that's going to be really important and play a role into how we integrate and talk with each other and what kind of data can we pull and push, et cetera. And then after that would be service integration, get the service team on it, start using service cases and tickets through there so it's trackable and the sales guys have visibility to it. Right now they use some other software that we just don't have connection with, and it's not the best anyway. I think they're looking to change that. And then last, once we get service involved, it would be the ADP integration. So while they're in the field, hopefully they've got a mobile device in their hand and they can just log in their hour, right? Close a job ticket, I'm leaving the customer site. Should hopefully automatically start generating invoicing and things like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I think we've got a long road to go, but I'm excited to see what we've done in 6 months, and
Same.
Looking forward to the next level.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, it's really been a fun road, though short here for 6 months. We're excited to continue that crawl, then walk, then run with you guys and get it moving. So,
Scott, nice things I think with BluePrint and being a family-owned company is, like you said, I think that's one thing that made it successful. Is like we kind of jumped into everything really fast, but once we got into it, BluePrint said, okay, let's take our time. We know this is a long-term process.
Yeah.
And don't feel like you're in a hurry to clean everything up and make it nice. But sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. No, I was going to close, so that's nice to hear. Yeah, we're excited to continue a good relationship with you guys long term. So, Nandish, I'm going to pass back to you, Scott. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day. Thanks for sharing your story with us and the audience.